Kind of like Euro Trip. The girls never came.
Wow, dude! Everybody gets a participation trophy. Yeah. Welcome back to the Feed the Need Fantasy Football Podcast, the number one 16-team fantasy football league in the world. I am your host, Derek Moody. As always, my co-host, the Season 2 Feed the Need champion, Trev Brown. How you doing?
What's going on, Derek? Hey, what are we gonna say now after week one? The podcast hosts are 2-0, baby.
Yes, sir.
Oh, let's go. Hey, not going to say that we haven't been telling you guys for the last month or so about good players, about bad players, about good drafts, about bad drafts. Maybe if you listen to us every once in a while, you'd be want to know too. But I digress. We're back. We're going to talk about how week one went, a little bit anyway. Then we're going to jump right into week two, some pick'ems, some rankings, some all that good stuff. So, yeah, we're back.
We got a jam-packed pod here. Slight delay. I had a little bit of a family emergency to deal with, but we're all good. It's okay. But going back to the one win that I got, Trev, the best part of it was against Spencer. And I work with the kid, and I let him hear it all day long. And he's probably going to go to the grave with this loss. But yeah, with that being said, we're going to go into Trev's top players, bottom players, and go from there.
Yeah. So all we got really this week, I don't want to spend too much, and I know it's already Thursday. Wednesday night won't get released until Thursday. So don't want to spend too much on last week. I do want to go over some players that did good and players that did bad. So I'm just going to just pure position, just do three top guys in the position real quick. So wide receivers, we're going to start Jaden Reed, the Green Bay Packers, 36.1 points, number one. Tyreek Hill at 27.5 points with Miami. And then Cooper Kupp with 26.9 points. Any surprises there, Moody?
No. Jaden Reed is obviously the surprise there. I took him in the 5th round. I liked him. I did not think he was going to do anything like that. It was sweet to watch, especially because Spencer, that's his guy apparently, and only he could have him. And I took him like 4 or 5 picks in front of him.
Yeah, you're a bad friend, dude.
Awful friend. He's never talking to fantasy.
Just a really bad friend. Just a really, really bad friend.
Awful, dog awful. It was his player. Nobody else could touch him apparently. But it was kind of just best of both worlds, watching my guy do well and knowing it's just really digging at Spencer made it even better. The other one was Cooper Kupp. Just saying, if you watch the pod, we talked about Cooper Kupp a couple weeks ago. He was one of my guys, and sure shit, he looks just all of it, just if he can stay healthy.
Well, how many catches did he end up having? 16, 17, 14?
14 on 21 targets. Whoa. Gross.
So now we'll go to running backs. The top 3 running back performers of week one. Saquon Barkley, my favorite player, 34.2 points. I love that. Joe Mixon, his new team. I thought he would do well in his new team. He's not too old yet, huh, Moody? 27.3 points. And another just bad take. Me, J.K. Dobbins at 25.4 points. So those are the top 3. I would have bet my job that those 2 out of 3 wouldn't be on that list, but that's why they play
honestly,
football.
If you got on the Bovada or whatever betting app you got, and you picked 3, if you had to pick the top 3 running backs and Feed the Need, and you did them as a parlay, that's a plus 8,000 parlay hit. Because J.K. Dobbins, dude, he's played 8 games or something in 3 years, just gross. Hats off, Caleb. We were talking in the trade before the season, and I was like, dude, give me that piece of shit, J.K. He's awful. Just toss him in. Caleb, like, no, dude, he's gonna be so good. He's gonna be so good. So hats off. It just, again, that guy is made out of an absolute drenched and soaked paper bag. I like the guy. Just hope to God he stays healthy. Joe Mixon.
Yeah, what do you think of Joe Mixon?
Dude, 30 carries, is the guy going to be able to sustain it for that long? I know it's game script like that. If it's a little bit closer of a game, they're going to be throwing the ball more to all those receivers. But 30 carries, or it's 28, but
Texans going to be up a lot. They're good.
I agree. It's just crazy. I love it. If I had him on my team, I'd be so happy. I wish I would have taken the second round over Drake London.
Oh, have the tables have turned.
Oh, have the turntables.
Oh, the turns have tables.
What do you have to say about Barkley, huh, buddy? What do you got to say about Barkley? Hand up? You gonna do a hand up my bad or what?
I'm not going to do a hand up on Barkley. Okay, I'm not done with my that take week one. It looks bad, but I promise. Just keep watching. Just keep watching. He not having 3 touchdowns a week. There's going to be a week all of a sudden where he goes for 65 yards and 2 catches and no touchdowns, and be like, oh, okay, that won't happen again. He did week one, like he did week one, blah blah. But then it'll happen in week 3, and then it will happen in week 4, and they'll be like, well, no, week 1 he did really good, and then I'm going to start having some ammunition, some more. I'm telling you, that take did not sit well in my stomach the first week, but I promise, just hold it down. Just gotta flex your stomach and hold it down, and it's gonna sit. It's gonna sit like a golf ball. It's gonna sit, and so and it's gonna stop. So
yeah.
No, that being said, Saquon Barkley did great, and then J.K. Dobbins did great. I don't trust Harbaugh to say to get J.K. Dobbins to 25 points every week. So I'm not sure about that, but. We'll move on to QBs now. Anthony Richardson leads the QBs with those massive throws. That 60, 70-yard in the air throw to Alec Pierce was the coolest thing I've ever seen. Josh Allen at 31.2 points with more rushing touchdowns like he does every week, like we were talking about a little bit earlier before we went on air. And then Lamar Jackson at 30.1. So this kind of the typical guys at the top of the quarterbacks, other than Anthony Richardson, but I always thought Anthony Richardson would be the guy if he was healthy. What do you think?
I like the top 3. It's kind of obvious Lamar Jackson. He got that guy. He's a gamer. That game gets close in the fourth quarter. I don't think he had any rushing yards at halftime, maybe a couple. And he ended with 122 rushing yards. And it's pretty much all in the second half because why? He's like, fuck it, I'm going to do it myself. And he just takes off. The guy is an absolute freak. I like Lamar Jackson. He does have a lot of weapons there with Isaiah Likely taking a huge step this year. Like we talked about before we got on, Josh Allen, he had 15 rushing touchdowns in the regular season last year as a quarterback. He had 3 more in the postseason. So that's 18 all of last year, which is just insane to me. And then you throw in, where was that? Right here. He threw it for touchdowns last year. He obviously, like I said, he had 15 rushing and he had 29 passing. Like the guy just is an absolute monster for the end zone. He's the clear cut, most consistent RB1 or quarterback 1 in all of football. Like he's going to throw the ball, he's going to run the ball, he's going to do everything. Anthony Richardson, that throw from 70 yards was one of the sickest throws I've ever seen. Just the slip, the guy right there in his face. Like I used to think that I could throw football pretty well, right? I thought I could, maybe go throw the dude. After that, I was like, I can't even throw that from 50, especially off my back foot. No chance. That was insane. But the one thing I do have to say about Richardson is he only had 9 completions.
Yeah, 9 and 19. 9 and 19.
9 and 19, which is just, again, he's very good, very fucking talented. He's going to have that rushing touchdown upside. He's going to be a top 10. I don't see him being a top 3 repeater every week. He's going to have his boom weeks and then slightly lesser weeks. But just completing 9 passing in the NFL is just kind of a little scary for him. Like that, he's going to be good and a freak of a talent, but that just scares me.
And then just to throw a little other names for like a tight end who did best in the tight end here. Isaiah Likely finished with a monster 26.6 points. That's the only one I have to say. Not another tight end went above 12.5. The position is fucking trash. I don't care that Foster Moreau scored a touchdown and had 3 catches.
Hey, just take your good players and let me segment to the bad ones, okay?
I'm not saying that they're bad.
I'm saying they're bad. I want to go into our bad week players, and I'm saying the whole fucking tight end group is what I'm trying to get at. They're all bad. Isaiah Likely's a backup tight end. He's the one that went off. He didn't even get started. Foster Moreau was the second tight end of the week, and he had 12.3.
Right. That's what I was trying to say. It was just it's not even worth talking about because Kyle Pitts was number 3 at 10.1.
Bingo. And then it goes down to Juwan Johnson on waivers. Brock Bowers was on there. He was played. And then it's another guy on waivers at number 4 at 6.7. The tight end position, and I will see this year in and year out, do not fucking draft the tight end position in the early rounds. It is fucking stupid. I am so sorry. You don't take a tight end in the second round or the third round, maybe the fourth, but in the second round, taking Travis Kelce, how does that feel getting to the 2 points? I understand his name is Travis Kelce. I understand you've had past success with Gronk as a first round pick, but guess what? This is 2024. That is dog shit. What are we doing? I'm 100%. Sorry. I'll say the name, Jimmy. What are we doing? Give it up. That's old strategy. Old strategies. It doesn't. It's not 2020.
It's almost even old strategy. Taking someone like Patrick Mahomes and then pairing them up with his receiver in the second round and all that stuff, or taking a receiver and then pairing Patrick Mahomes in the second. That's just strategy that was 3-4 years ago. That needs to go away because it's not good no more. Tight ends in the second round, not good no more. We don't have him. There's nobody in the league that's any good like that.
No, the position group in the whole. Yes, Travis Kelce will still be that guy. Yes, these second-year guys in Laporta, Trey Burton, Kincaid. Look at Kincaid. He was the most hyped tight end in the fucking offseason. He's coming in. He's supposed to be this absolute next Gronkowski.
Yeah, I don't even know if
he had a zero.
Did he get a catch? I don't even think I got catches.
Yes, in today's game, the defenses are too good. The pass rush is too good. So how do you slow down the pass rush with what fucking dominant DN? The tight end chips or the tight end helps. And sorry, you might be one of our elite catchers, but guess what? You're helping ship it. Sorry. Right. There's too many athletes on the defense now.
Yeah, no, and then that's just good segue to people who did bad, and I don't want to spend too much time on it, but wide receivers, it's bottom 3. We got Marvin Harrison Jr. at 0.9, my guy, my second round pick. Didn't do all too well. And then Darnell Mooney, 95% of snap share for the fucking Falcons, 2 points. Kirk Cousins is a piece of fucking trash. I just refuse to be a Kirk Cousins truther at all because guess who's number fucking 3? Drake London at 2.5 points, 2 catches, 15 yards. Just when you have 2 of the 3 bottom performing wide receivers of all the whole week and essentially because you were brought in to be the $100 million guy, $150 million guy, and then that's what he does. It's ridiculous. Go ahead, Moon.
Yeah. Just real quick. The receivers from the second round on, okay? It went Martin Harrison Jr., god awful. Drake London, god awful. Puka Nacua, he got hurt. He's out. Yeah. Chris Olave, he had 2 points.
Yeah.
Cooper Kupp had a great game. Mike Evans, great game. Devontae Adams, DK Metcalf didn't do much. And then Debo. So it's there was a little stretch there that just the middle of the second round. It just
those receivers kind of got fucked in the second round. Yeah, it was that tier of receivers about 4 or 5 in a row that didn't do shit. That you really had no choice. You had essentially, without knowing what would happen in week 1, no option in drafting a good one.
No, and that's it too. It's just that's why I didn't really want to be in the middle of the draft, just because in that section it was kind of got gross. It was just kind of a drop off in tiers there, but.
Yeah, and then we'll go to running backs. The worst performers, Javonte Williams, 2.8 points. Mostert got hurt, 2.9 points. And then Zamir White, 3.6 points. Zamir White was one of my sleepers. I think there are better days ahead for him and the Las Vegas Raiders offense. So I'm not too worried about Zamir White. Javonte Williams with 2.8 points. Like, when are we gonna talk about it? Like, when are we gonna talk about Javonte Williams not scoring a lot of points?
I said it when he took the pick. It was not a good pick. I did not like it at all. My guy was Jaleel McLaughlin coming in as a late sleeper. Jaleel didn't do much either, but
scored more than 2.8.
Agreed. Javonte Williams just it was a perfect game script. I understand the Seahawks got a whole new coaching staff, blah 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 blah, but they invest all in their corners.
The Broncos' starting field position in the first half of that game was the 45 of Seattle's 45. How are you a fucking starting running back in the NFL? Your team gets 2 safeties in the first half. You start your average field position at the 45, and you finish the game with 2.8 points, dude.
Yeah.
No, even with the rookie and with the rookie QB that you're going to be fucking running the ball, like, obviously, like, what in the world?
Yeah, he had 8 carries for 23 yards, 2.8 yards per carry. He only got 2 targets, caught one of them for no yards. And the thing is that's going to be him. He's a 2.8 yard per carry guy. He's not going to do much more. And to be honest with you, the Seahawks defense's run defense for the last 5 years have been dog shit. Since the Legion of Boom, the run defense had, like, I remember Derrick Henry came in a couple of years ago and just shit on him. I understand a new coaching scheme here, blah, blah, blah. I don't give a shit. There's 90% of the same players here. They can't stop the run. And guess what? Javonte Williams didn't do on him. They can't run on him. And I don't give a shit if there's Baker or with Bo Nix back there. That's just not a good offense to invest as a run back in. You want the other guy as Jaleel McLaughlin. And the fact that Mike took the trade, I understand you got CeeDee Lamb. But getting Javonte Williams, I don't give a fuck about it. I think it's a good trade for Dallas. But yeah. I was just gonna say Zamir White. He was the shit kicker of the week last week. So far Dallas is 1-0 on his call outs.
100%. So, hopefully we can get another one. Last but not least, just QBs, the shit kickers this week. Daniel Jones, 2.9 points. Caleb Williams, 6.2 points. Kirk Cousins, 6.2 points. Caleb Williams, I watched the Bears game with a Bears fan this weekend, and I wanted to shoot myself in the dick. I love Keaton to death. But that team's not going to win more than 3.5 games. That team's bad. The Bears are bad. Caleb Williams is bad. Kirk Cousins looked bad, and Daniel Jones looked like he's doesn't know how to throw a football. I'm really upset with my Malik Neighbors in the 3rd round now because I just thought Daniel Jones was better at football than that. Just the bottom 3 QBs are just really bad at football. And I know Caleb Williams, that's overreaction because it's week 1, but not really. I mean, you can see it. You can see it with these young ones that are really small, the young quarterbacks that are really small. Bryce Young is just really bad at football. If you watch the Carolina game, he's really bad at football. He's too small, and he's never going to get bigger. Caleb Williams kind of reminds me of that. He's just too small, and I don't think his decision-making is going to be top tier like Peyton Manning or Andrew Luck or someone like that. And I think he's fucked. So, those bottom 3 quarterbacks, avoid. I'll give you 2 other names here. I'll give you 3 names, okay? One is Aaron Rodgers. It's tough to judge him so far. It's week 1 of coming back from Achilles. So I'm going to give him and I like Aaron Rodgers. He looked like he had a lot of zip on his ball, man. It looked like
I agree, but he finished with 8.6. That's not Aaron Rodgers that we know. So he didn't perform well, but you give him. And I know you hate Kirk Cousins, and I know you hate that Falcons offense, but Kirk Cousins looks a little bit more comfortable in the second half, so I'm not going to completely judge him being played awful for week 1. Joe Burrow. 2 people I said to avoid was the 3 people I said was Jamar Chase and CeeDee Lamb, right? CeeDee Lamb had a pretty good game, but it affects more people than just the one guy that's sitting out. Joe Burrow came in and had 7.1 points this week in fantasy football. He was picked in the 5th round, I think it was, as like the 7th quarterback off the board. That's not what you want in a 5th round guy. I had the number one overall receiver or player, really, because the 36
it was player.
Position. Yeah. And then another guy I want to highlight real quick is where was it? Oh, Dak Prescott. Did I not say CeeDee Lamb? Don't fuck. I told you, don't draft.
Yeah, don't fuck with that first week or two. Right.
Dak Prescott had 10.5. Guess what? Yes, it's just it's when like you were the one that said it. When a guy misses camp, it doesn't just affect him; it affects the whole fucking team. Yes, the Cowboys looked fine; they won the game, but at the same time, man, like that's not a Dak performance. Dak was a top 3 quarterback last year. At a 10.1 or 10.5 week 1 is just not. That's not Dak like, especially like just it's just tough to see when people go early on quarterbacks and then stack them with the guy and it just doesn't work out.
Right. All right. Yeah. And so then we'll transition. What do you want to do next?
All right. We're just going to go into a quick recap of teams that we like that performed well week 1. Because we gave our consensus rankings last week and a couple shockers showed up week 1 and a couple duds. Week 1 or last week, we ranked Jib dead last, 16-16 and 16-16 on both those platforms that you had. The guy had point high going into Sunday Night Football until David Montgomery ran that touchdown in to win the game. Myrtle jumped in for point high. Jib put up the second most points with 136.10 and absolutely said, fuck you, Fantasy Football Podcast. Right. I am the shit, and I'm here to repeat. And went off, and he got a win, 1-0. You have anything to say about Jib's team?
Yeah, George's team really surprised me, essentially because Saquon did so well. I wasn't expecting Saquon to do well. I wasn't expecting Stevenson to do well. And then Watson, Shakir, Herbert did okay. Like, everyone had touchdowns. And anybody has touchdowns on your team, especially in a 16-man to feed the need type team, you're going to do pretty well. And so I'm not sold on Jordan's team yet. I don't think Barkley goes for 40 again. I don't think Shakir goes for 20. I don't think Stevenson goes for 20 every week. That positive game script in New England is going to be a thing of like maybe that happens once or twice all season long. So no, I don't think Jib's team is all that good still. I still think consensusly he's a pretty bottom tier team in feed the need. But he did have a good week 1. And if he can have a good week 2 and prove me wrong again, then I'll kind of eat crow then.
Yeah, and that's it too. It's week 1, it's so hard because everybody comes in the week 1 with just such high hopes on all their picks 5 through 13. And it's a rude awakening for a lot of people. And it's goes the other way too, of like people are like, fuck, my team sucks. Jimmy Cook. But also with teams like Jib, maybe having Zamir White, or not Zamir White, oh my gosh.
Ramondre?
Yeah, maybe having Ramondre Stevenson is going to be good. I'm not saying he's great, not saying he's bad, but for having 3 running backs that he has and feed the need is pretty damn nice. That being said, the team that got point high is Brian Linegar. Merle, I didn't see it coming, to be dead honest with you. His team it's good, but it's not like a holy shit. And now he did a trade with Caleb and he got Justin Jefferson. And I'm not a big David Montgomery guy. I like Jahmyr Gibbs. His upside talent is just so good. And David Montgomery is he's a backup, but he's so damn good at the same time. So
no backup. You know what they do in Detroit. You know what they've done the last 4 years. It's not any different. They have a 1B and a 1A, and they both do pretty well every single game. There's no backup there.
I know, but like in my head, I see Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm like, oh my god, that guy's a fucking freak. And then I forget about David Montgomery. Is all it is. I agree. Yeah. You are 100% right. David Montgomery is really good, but one of his big hits was Jameson Williams. Got him late in the draft, and he put up 27 points, which is just huge.
His wide receiver hits were huge, dude. Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, and his worst receiver was he had a waiver wire guy in, but Justin Jefferson with 15 as his third best receiver is just crazy because that guy is the best receiver in football.
Yeah, Merle's team is okay. I don't think, like I said, I think week one is kind of over dramatization of how his year is going to go. I just don't think Matthew Stafford's the answer for long-term success, especially with Andre Lozavas and his wife Lasavis. Okay. The rest of his team's actually not too bad.
You said, Trevor, you want to go look at some of the bottom teams? Jimmy Cook finished with like a top 5 bottom scoring here of 39-18. That is hard to do.
I faced Jimmy this week, and I just kept waiting for points to come, and they never came. The points never came. Kind of like Euro Trip, the girls never came. But but the points never came. So Kyler Murray did bad. But I would imagine him. There's already rumors that him and Marvin Harrison aren't getting along, and it's not up to him to get Marvin Harrison his targets and blah blah blah. And I think that's just NFL drama. I don't think that's anything. I think they'll figure it out. Marvin Harrison's going to bounce back. Kyler Murray will have a good year. But the rest of Jimmy's team, he needs to do something. It's so bad. I mean, Jaleel McLaughlin, Jaylen Warren, Amon-Ra, Chris Olave, Kelsey, Jordan Mason, Deontay Johnson, Cleveland. There's nothing about his team that yells that he's going to score more than 65 points in any given week. He only scored 39. And I just don't think he can get to 65. I think 65 is his fucking floor, his average. So what do you do?
That's what I was going to get to. What I was going to highlight was, let's just say Kelsey goes off for 15. Okay, that's a good Kelsey game. Okay,
right.
Amon-Ra goes for 20.
Right.
Okay, that's 2 good games for both of them. Give Kyler 20. That's 6.
His week score is only like 65 points at that point.
Exactly.
9 points.
His only hope here is he did get Jordan Mason. So if Christian McCaffrey does miss more time, he might have a couple weak steals. But Christian McCaffrey already said he's ready to go. He's ready to play. Right. Apparently, I just don't think the Niners do it. They're not trying to win games in September. They're trying to win games in January. So I do think they're going to kind of wait him out and not completely just throw him back in. So I do think Jordan Mason will help him out a little bit. And then he has Jonathan Brooks, a hopeful. That's just an absolute fucking wild card. So it's like he has no help coming. There's nothing. Marvin Mims it's just like you said, floor of 65, and let's move on. That is just not fun to be around, which is kind of sad for a 4-time BNN champion. With that, the next team it's sad. I hope the shit kicker of the week guy himself calls himself out. Maybe he'll do a hand up, my bad. We don't know yet. We get these after we record, so we're talking shit about him now, not knowing what he's done. But Dallas Wilkins, we called him out about his reaches of running backs in the second or the third and fourth rounds of Najee Harris and Javonte Williams. And then I said that he had the worst fucking draft out there, or the worst pick, because he went Tajee Spears and picked a bench running back over a starting flex option. And he had got off of week 1, got absolutely trounced by Tyler Daly. And then now he just did a trade. He traded his best player, CeeDee Lamb. He got Aaron Jones and Jalen Waddle. Okay, cool. But where does that help him? Genuinely asking. He traded his worst fucking position, okay? He started Alvin Kamara, Aaron Jones, Javonte Williams, Najee Harris. And then his receivers were CeeDee, Calvin Ridley, Quentin Johnson, right? You trade CeeDee Lamb, you should go just slight downgrade, or you could just trade him and get 2 nice receivers. Keep your 3 running backs that you think are very good, because you obviously drafted them way earlier than needed. And now it fills out your lineup, but now you're still stuck starting Quentin Johnson. And now guess what? Like, what are we doing? So you slightly upgraded running back from Aaron Jones, from Javonte Williams to Aaron Jones. Yes, it's an upgrade, but you downgraded tremendously from CeeDee Lamb to Jalen Waddle. I don't get that.
I don't know about
trade.
that. I don't know. Jalen Waddle had 100 and something yards, just didn't have a touchdown. He had 5 catches. He's not too bad. It's not it's not as big as downgrade as you are making it out to be. And he got Aaron Jones, and we were just talking shit about Javonte, the perennial fucking trash bagel of the fucking NFL.
I agree. It is
so
but my
he
thing
traded
is,
a trash bagel and someone who isn't going to do good until week 4 or 5 because he's not going to get his legs back under him for 2 serviceable players. I really don't think it's that bad of a trade.
I just, it's one of those things. We've talked about it on this podcast a lot when we do the power ranking stuff. We like the teams that can beat you from quarterback to the very last flex spot. It's the teams that are.
This team's pretty good, other than Quentin Johnson. I mean, and Quentin
Johnson. That's where I'm seeing it. That's where I'm getting at. If you trade one of your guys, you get depth, or you help your lineup. You don't help anything else. And in what that trade was, is he traded arguably the best receiver in the game because he was wide receiver 1 last year. It went from the best wide receiver to Jalen Waddle. Yes, I like Jalen Waddle a lot, but it's a big downgrade. And then you go from Javonte Williams to Aaron Jones. Yes, that is an upgrade, but does that help your team going from the best receiver to a top 12 receiver to just middle of the road running back to just junk running back?
Aaron Jones looks like he's going to be a stud. Looks like he's going to be the guy. Right?
I don't think so. The guy's 29.
I was watching a different football game. He got 20-something carries. He looked like he was the guy.
Hopefully it works out for him. I'm not an Aaron Jones guy. Never have been. Never will be. The guy, he's in a dog shit offense. I just don't trust him.
They won.
And yes. Who'd they play?
Someone shitty.
I just don't trust them. They played the Giants. Okay. Aaron Jones against the Giants, I don't know about you, but Dallas Wilkins himself can go out there and run the ball and have a successful day. Fuck, let Braxton or Landon go run the ball, and they'll do just as good.
Right.
Just saying. Why Braxton can wear his chains and still go out there and fucking run like that. No issues.
Right.
I just don't like – I would rather have CeeDee Lamb and Javonte Williams as my RB3, and I would stack – if I'm doing a trade for one of my best players, I want to lengthen my lineup. All right. With that, the average scoring in Feed the Need is 93 points, which is not a crazy lot. I hear other fantasy leagues that have like 150 average. It's just insane. So if you score above that and take a loss, it's just puts you in a weird spot. You're like, fuck yeah. Like I put up points, but I lost. Like that fucking sucks. But those stats being said, Blackburn put up 106. Which that was a real kick to the dick because I don't know if you watched it. He has Travis Etienne just clear to the end zone and just fumbles it, kicks it to the back of the end zone, which awful because that's what 6. Let's just say 7.5 points was like from 15 yards out. 7.5 points, right?
Right.
Blackburn's matchup. He plays against Tyreek Hill. Very first play of the game, or very first play after that turnover, Tyreek Hill for 80-yard touchdown, which is he was playing against Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
So. Just that quick little, that 5-minute span in football, just Blackburn lost, Garrett won. So shit luck on it. That part, that sucks. And then Dilla, he put up 101. So he's 8 points above average. He took a loss too. And he had a decent week. And it's just still, it's tough, but you scored well, but lost.
Yeah, I don't give 2 fucks about them scoring below or above average, all that shit. I have habitually tried to get a league average game and to Feed the Need for the last 6 years because I thought this shit was unfair. I can't fucking stand when I win with 70 points and I face someone who has 31 points. And I get my 1-0, and then someone scores 115. They play someone scores 130. They're 0-1. We should be all 1-1. We should face the league average as well. I just don't understand it. It's like we are in the future, and we can calculate fairness. And that is the fairest fucking way to get the best top 12 teams into the playoff. I don't understand why everyone is so fucking dumb about it, but it is what it is.
Two things. I could hear Spencer already. Wow, dude, everybody gets a participation trophy. Ew. Shut up, okay? I don't disagree with you. That was to Spencer. That was not to you. But with that being said, I don't agree. It's fantasy football. We have zero control over this. Absolutely zero. This is all for fun. It is 100,000% out of our hands. We have no fucking control. Did anybody think that Anthony Richardson could throw a 70-yard ball off his back foot to a fucking fourth string receiver? No. If I did, I would have picked him up and started, but we don't. But with that being said, week 1 in the books, 2-0 on the pod. Let's go. Let's get it into next week. And next week's or later, we're going to record a pod just here in a couple seconds. But we're going to go into power rankings and pick'ems of week 2. Trev, what do you got to say?
Hey, all I got to say is the bread is in the pudding. The bread is in the pudding. 2-0, baby. 2-0. Gonna be 4-0. Get ready to watch the next pod. We're ready. Let's go.
See ya.
Deuces.